So this is the first time it's been running in 3 days or so. It starts up really well. I cleaned out the PCV valve, or the crank ventilation, however you know it as, the last video off camera. So maybe that did help it a little bit breathe better. I still need to replace it. I always love it to see her in action. We have to do something about that exhaust in the back. If you didn't see one of my latest videos, I think it was like the second to last on this build, we did end up cleaning the interior. You actually feel a bit safe, so no bugs or spiders or creatures crawl up your leg. But let's enjoy it before we have to take it all apart one more time. Ooh, it sounds so good. I will say we feel a little more confident driving it on the roads here in the neighborhood because we finally have brake lights, we have blinkers, and we have operable mirrors that we can kind of see out of because they're so incredibly tiny. Don't worry about this one though. We don't need that one. What's up guys, welcome back. Cars with Abe here. I'm Abraham. First and foremost, before we get into the Falcon, I want to thank each and every one of you for subscribing to my channel. Man, it may not seem like a lot, but check it out. We are at 362 subs as of right now and still growing. I am so stoked about that. May not sound like a lot to a lot of you folks and bigger YouTubers that we're all familiar with, but you know, everyone's got to start from somewhere. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for subscribing. It really means a lot to me. Anyways, today what we're gonna go ahead and do is take apart the front end. Now, the reason why I wanted to pull the car out is to enjoy it a little bit because it's gonna be back in the garage on stands once again, and y'all know that I want to drive it. I mean, I'm sure any one of you guys would want to drive your car after you get it up and running. You know the brakes are good and everything, but the fact of the matter is we still have a lot of linkage components, suspension components that I don't feel is safe yet to go out in the main road. Not to mention that I kind of have a feeling that the transmission is gonna leave us stranded at some point soon. But I'm not gonna let that hinder us. I'd rather have the transmission leave us on the side of the road and enjoying it. But you know, we'll see if that ever even comes about. But anyways, I want to get one last look at it. We have so much to do, so little time, unfortunately today, but without further ado, let's go ahead, dive into the garage and take apart that front suspension. Now that we have the wheels off, it would probably be a good time to see how the brakes are doing. All right, so far the front brakes are looking good, but later on, before we button all the front suspension back up and chassis back up, I do want to double check everything with a torque wrench and make sure it is good to go. Since we have been driving it just a little bit, that would be the ideal thing to do. Make sure everything's nice and safe. Anyways, what we have today, some new shocks. But primarily what we're gonna try and do is put on the lower control arms. Look at that. Yes, we have some lower control arms. Sorry, I already opened the box because I was too excited, unfortunately. But let's go ahead and take this over here. So we are going to obviously be replacing those lower control arms as well as shocks. I do need to pick up another one. It was a little bit delayed. And oh buddy, we have some Plasta dip in here, so we'll save that for a little bit later. And finally, with that Plasta dip, we'll have some wheels that hopefully look good enough and match the car a little bit better with the white instead of like white and light gray. I don't really like the color at all, but black Plasta dip with that clear glossy finish should look pretty nice. Again, you just have to do the PB Blaster. We're taking out these suspension arms right here as well. I don't have any new ones, but that's only because I'm cheap. We're gonna clean these up and maybe have to replace the bushings on these as well. That one is torn. These look good so far, but they could be torn on the other end. We'll just have to wait and see. Really don't want to spend the money on this, but if we have to, we have to.
A few moments later.
Okay, so it's like a split second for you guys, but it's been like, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes for us, and we've gotten nowhere. I'll tell you why. So from the manual that we're reading, we do have to support that upper control arm before we take off that lower control arm. As you can see, most of it, it's all detached, and then you have the compression of this spring here that would want to just shoot out as soon as we unbolt that lower control arm. So the problem is, I didn't have any type of spring compressor. So I stopped at our local O'Reilly so that way we can pick up a spring compressor there. Obviously there's another side to it, which is right over there. So that way this coil can be compressed. Before we have to do that, we do have to take off this cover here. You see there's like 6 or 4 bolts or so right up here. So that way we have a little more space to work with inside the fender here. So let's get to it. Alright, we got this off. We could clean that up real nice. Check it out. Now we have full access to this coil here. Or spring, however you know it. Alright, it's spring compressing time. Hopefully I don't die. Alright, sway bar link is just about out. Bushings aren't actually that bad. Check it out. Oh, never mind. We should probably replace those. And voila. I have to admit, guys, the lower control arm is kind of kicking our butt. So what we did is there's a spring that's compressed right there, just in case. We're gonna hold this up. And now all we have left is 2 bolts that hold in the lower control arm. We have the new control arm right over here, ready and prepped. Just need to take off that cover right there. But the bolt goes through here on the back side. On the frame of the vehicle, you can see I already doused it in PB Blaster, so that's good. And then this is the only other bolt that we have, as well as a nice fresh cotter pin there. So I think we're pretty good to install this side. First of all, sorry you guys have to see, it's hot again here in Texas. Yes, it's November and it's super hot. Second of all, this is probably the most time that we'll have for in this video. I know that kind of sucks. I was planning to get a lot further ahead in this video, but unfortunately it kicked our butts. So now that we kind of have a smooth rhythm and know exactly what's entailed to replace these exactly inside the car without the car being completely torn apart, fenders removed and stuff like that, I think that a good stopping point is going to be after we install this side. The other side, all I have left to do on the other side, I have already removed the sway bar link, and then we do have to remove the suspension arm. We just have some 2 silly little bolts right there, and then this side will also be ready to go to replace. So I know, why not do it right now? Well, unfortunately, we do have some stuff to take care of with the business, and I do have to work full time since I don't have enough subscribers. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. So without further ado, let's go ahead, shut up, and finally get this arm on this side and just hope and pray. Finally, we have the old driver's side control arm out. So let's hurry up and put the new control arm in. Now I've already double checked this, how it does look pretty identical. That ball joint is shot, but we have a brand new one. So let's go ahead and put it back on. Ta-da! We have a brand new lower control arm after hours. It's looking good though. Hey, last touch. Just kidding. We have so much more to do. But there you go. There's the cotter pin. All right, and finally we have the new control arm. Yes! I can't believe it. It looks so good. I don't know if you guys can see it. I mean, it's evening time now, so it's kind of hard to see. And I'm filming on my iPhone, so sorry about that. All right, so this is pretty cool. You have before side and after side. Check it out. It's looking clean, looking real clean. Don't mind all the oil leaks and stuff underneath. Don't worry about that. All right, guys, so the fact of the matter is that kicked my butt 100%. We weren't really sure what it entailed when we started this job, but I was very eager to get it resolved because as you saw, the old ball joint, it's like flat, like there's nothing to it. Look at this. Not to mention how ugly the control arm is with decades of complete dirt and grime and oil and road debris, but look at that. I mean, now the boot isn't really like torn 100%, but as you lift it up, it kind of is, but there's nothing in there. So on top of that, my GoPro did die, and that's the primary camera that I film with. So I'm so sorry about that. I did want to get a lot more as we were going back together with it. But the next video, please smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe and put on that notification bell, because the next video we're going to be finishing all this up, hopefully. But because we also have some parts to clean up, such as that suspension arm right there, as well as the other suspension arm on the other side. I do want to make it look nice and pretty, and maybe even get those bushings. I have a feeling that like O'Reilly's or someone like that might have that. Maybe I could stretch the budget and get new sway bar end links. I'm not too entirely sure though. So guys, if you like this video, please smash that like button. Don't forget to sub for the next video, finishing all this up and getting it back on the road. I had a feeling that it was gonna be down for a little while doing this project for me because one, I'm not a professional, never done it before. That's like my slogan of this whole entire channel. I've never done a lot of these things before on a classic vehicle like this. So I'm learning a lot how the coil is positioned and everything. It's quite a bit different than just your daily driver. Without further ado, that effectively ends today's video. Y'all have a great day. Peace.